Okay, review packet, topic 14b, starting with question 19. So I'm trying to solve for x. So right now I've got this square root of 4x. To get rid of a square root, I would square it, but you have to do the same thing to both sides. So if I square the left, I've got to square the right. When I square this, I get 4x. When I square the right, I get x minus 3 times x minus 3. So you're going to want to box that out. You've got x minus 3, x minus 3. So multiply those, gives you x squared. This gives you negative 3x, and 9. So I get 4x equals, and these are, again, remember my like terms, x squared minus 3x is minus 6x plus 9. I'm going to want to make this equal to 0. So minus 4x minus 4x. 0 equals x squared minus 10x plus 9. And I'm going to need to factor it to find my answers. And this is the easier kind of factoring. My a is 1. I'm looking for two numbers multiply to be 9 and add up to be negative 10. So negative 9 and negative 1. Negative 9 times negative 1 is positive 9. Negative 9 plus negative 1 is negative 10. When I solve these, I set them equal to 0. So x minus 9 equals 0. X minus 1 equals 0. I get x equals 9. And x equals 1. And again, we need to check these answers and make sure they both work. So when I plug 9 back in, I get the square root of 36 is 6. 9 minus 3 is 6. 6 squared, I get 36 equals, or 6 equals 6. When I plug 1 in, the square root of 4 is 2. But here I get 1 minus negative 3 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. So this does not work. That's an extraneous solution. And again, this one, when I plug it in, I get 6 equals 6. It works. On this one, when I plug this in, I get 2 equals 4, and that does not work. So I only have one answer. I only have x equals 9 on this one. Okay, so this next one, again, I'm taking square root. So I need to square both sides. When I square this side, I get 2x plus 28. Squaring this side, I'm going to want to box it out. I've got x and 2 and x and 2. So x squared, 2x, 2x, and 4. These are my like terms. So I get x squared plus 4x plus 4. Now I want one side to equal 0. So I'm going to subtract 2x and 28 from both sides. That gives me 0 equals x squared plus 2x minus 24. And again, this is my easy kind of factoring. My a is 1. I'm just looking for two numbers that multiply to be negative 24 and add up to be 2. So my two numbers that multiply to be negative 24 and add up to be 2 are 6 and negative 4. 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. 6 plus negative 4 is 2. This equals 0. I'm going to set each one equal to 0 and solve. I get x equals negative 6 and x equals 4. I need to plug them back in and check. So when I plug negative 6 in, I get negative 6 times 2, which is negative 12. 28 minus 12 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4, so I get 4 on the left. Negative 6 on this side gives me negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared is 16. So that doesn't work. That one is extraneous. So that's not a solution. If we try 4, 4 times 2 is 8. 28 plus 8 is 36. The square root of 36 is 6. On this side, 4 plus 2 is 6. 6. Oops, I just have 6. Sorry, this side I plugged it in wrong. 6 equals 6. That one works. Sorry, on this side, I was using my squared and it's not squared. I would get, when I plug in, let's plug it in. On this side, I got 4. On this side, I get negative 4. 4 does not equal negative 4. And I probably plugged in the one wrong on 19 too, because I was probably looking at it wrong. So let's look at number 19 again. on the extraneous solution. When I plug in 1 on the left, I get -2. Sorry. Okay, so I have one solution here because that's extraneous, and the same thing with 19. I only have one solution that's extraneous, despite my little math mistake that I made. All right, cube root means I need to cube both sides. So I'm going to do the cube that side, 2x minus 3, and 5 cubed is 125. So I've got to add 3 first. That gives me 2x equals 128. Divide by 2, and I get x equals 64. Number 22, again, before I get rid of that fourth root, I've got a 2. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2, which gives me the fourth root of x plus 3 equals 4. And then I'm going to raise both sides to the fourth root. That gives me x plus 3 on that side. And then on the other side, I've got 4 to the fourth, which is 256. And let's see here. I need to get rid of this 3. So I get x equals 253. And the last problem. I am going to move this to the other side to start with. So I'm going to add 4 times the square root of 5 to both sides. Makes it a little bit easier when I'm squaring both sides. So I get the square root of 2x minus 3 equals 4 times the square root of 5. To get rid of a square root, I need to square both sides. So we square that side, we square that side. This side gives me 2x minus 3. And when you square something like this, you square the outside, which is 16. 4 times 4 is 16. And the inside gives you 5. So what I have is 2x minus 3 equals 80. I'm still trying to get x by itself, so I'm going to add 3 to both sides and divide by 2. So I get 83 over 2.